And we're in full swing with Transformers Rise of the Beasts, with tons of new toys, and at least at the time of writing this, a total and complete lack of a second trailer. But never fear, for I am here to overanalyze little blurry pixels on a screen to determine whether or not this $20 figure is accurate or not. And that brings us to Nightbird, part of the main line of figures brought to us by Hasbro as we eagerly await the Studio Series figure. So at around $6 cheaper than the average SS Deluxe, how does she stack up? And I think the first thing to tackle is the sculpt. She is surprisingly accurate to the renders, which I could have also echoed for Scourge in my last review, but since we haven't seen a good look at Nightbird in the trailer, I'm more inclined to use these for robot mode. And wow, this is incredible! The fact that they managed to get this close to the robot without compromising either of the modes is insane. It's definitely not perfect, she is missing some skirt pieces, the wings on her back, and her overall leg design is very different from what we see on the render, not to mention the head. While accurate, features normal eyes, whereas the one in the film are segmented and visor-like. I don't mind this, as I prefer the toy look, but I know some of you are strict on accuracy. One thing to note though is the car detailing. While Nightbird in the film transforms into a Nissan Skyline R33, this figure, being an unlicensed mainline version, takes elements from both the R33 and R34 variants of the car. Why this is relevant for robot mode is that Nightbird's promotional renders display her with both R33 and R34 detailing depending on which you look at. Could this mean that she was originally going to be an R34? It's possible, but what's more likely is that the concept artists were supplied both cars to use before one was decided on, which resulted in this odd hybrid. One thing that is really a head scratcher is the choice of color, and for the most part it's solid. It's not all exactly where it's supposed to be, but on the whole it looks rather nice. But then there's this brown. While Nightbird does feature brown on her robot and vehicle mode in the film, it's more of a pink gold rather than this odd shade of brown. And it's evident that due to its excessiveness on the robot that it was used as a structure plastic on the toy, which confuses me even more. Instead of using black or gray or simply painting on the brown detailing, they broke up both molds with brown to the point of it looking bad in both modes. Why this was done, I have no idea. Brown may have been a cheaper color to produce, but either way, it's lame. As for accessories, she comes with a little arm knife. This is more for vehicle mode, but she is shown to have this in the promotional renders as well. The other accessory is the sword, and only one? In the render we see of her, she has two, one short blade and one long blade. Why she comes with only one is a mystery to me. Just another odd budget decision, I assume. As for transformation, I remember seeing a tweet a day or two before I got Nightbird, commenting that the transformation was difficult, and no shame to them, we all have different levels of experience, but because of that, I was expecting an incredibly difficult conversion, and what I ended up with was this overall easy experience. In fact, this is a really fun transformation, and even the sword and knife end up making the spoiler, so that's neat. And here she is in her Nissan Skyline R33.5 mode. Taking both elements from the R33 and R34 variants of the car, it overall does the job on an unlicensed vehicle mode, just treading the borders of being copyright infringement, and it's incredibly good looking. The sculpt all condenses into this really nice looking automobile, and the brown trim and the gray color all look good. But again, the brown becomes an issue when the hood, which is all gray in the film, appears in this ugly brown once again. It's just disappointing. But hey, we got the black windows and no clear plastic. Thank you, Hasbro. And those purple rims really do the job. Overall, a very nice looking car mode, probably the highlight of the figure, though I could do without the sword spoiler. While clever weapon storage, it just kind of looks strange to have a sword hanging off the back. My first impressions of Rise of the Beasts' mainline release of collector figures so far has been really good. If you want Nightbird here, you can pick her up in the Buzzworthy box set, containing 3 really solid figures, or you can wait for her single release later down the line. I ended up going with the box set since it's cheaper and I wanted all the figures inside. Nightbird definitely was the highlight though, and I highly recommend you at least consider checking her out. Or hey, you can always wait for the Studio Series figure later this year. That's it! Those are my thoughts on Rise of the Beasts Nightbird. Did you get her? Or are you planning to wait for the Studio Series release? Let me know your thoughts or anything else in the comments below. And while you're here, have you seen my thoughts on her boss? Might want to check that out too. I've been Citronite, and yes, I will talk about him. See ya.